Reddit user named Ottoman Leaves_84 shared their story. They are currently 39 years old. This incident happened when they were about a year old. His mother's grandfather, which he has described as Tom, had passed away. He was ill for a while after suffering from a stroke. The writer used to visit his maternal grandparents with his mom frequently. His mom used to tell him that Tom loved him very much. After around 3 months, when Tom had passed away, his parents woke up to a laughing and giggling sound in the middle of the night, which was coming from the writer's room. When they came to check, they found him lying in the cot rolling and giggling. His parents ignored the incident as something normal, but this activity started to take place almost every night. Thereafter, the writer mentions, for the next couple of months, this continued. Understandably, this started to creep my father out. My mother and her family, on the other hand, started to wonder if I was perhaps being visited during the night. As time passed, the writer started to give out details about what made him laugh at night. Now, this was a time when he had learned some words and little bit talking, and one day his parents were once woken up to his sound saying man. When they asked him what was going on, he pointed towards the bed and said man. Similarly, one another night he said man tickle me. Following, he started to describe the appearance of that man. He said that man had tickly face and a mustache. The way he described that man, his family were convinced that he was being visited by his late great-grandfather. Further, in last of his story, the writer mentioned, about 17 years ago, a psychic told me, I have a male spirit with me who looks out for me. He told me he has always been with me since I was a baby. His name, Tom. Recently, a Reddit user named EquivalentLife6658 makes a post saying, like 2 or 3 years ago, I was on my bed. Lights were off. Only light I had was from the phone screen, and you know, when less light, we only see in black or white. But in few seconds, maybe 3, I saw something like if it was stone or marble standing upside, feet on ceiling, and it disappeared. Anyone has experienced something similar? The user does not seem that he is familiar with English, but I will explain that for you. When the writer on his bed about 2-3 years ago, maybe the lights of the rooms were off, and he was maybe using his mobile phone, and the only light source on his room was his mobile screen's light. After some seconds, he saw something like stone or marble standing upside down, and it disappeared. Like something was there upside down on his room ceiling. People replied to him saying that it must be sleep paralysis, but the user later replied that he forgot to mention, but he was awake preparing himself to go to sleep. So he was not sleeping and it cannot be sleep paralysis. Well, nobody knows what that entity was and what it meant. A Reddit user named AquamarineXX444 made a post. This incident happened with his co-worker who told him that a static entity presented itself to her and went into her mouth. And couple nights after that incident, her mom had a same dream. Her mom had a dream of being in the kitchen with that static entity. Some people replied saying this incident looks similar to the movie Entity, 1983. Recently, a Reddit user named try_link517 made a post with title trying to get rid of haunted doll I recently acquired. To explain the long story in short, they bought a creepy Raggedy Ann which had orange hair, and they were informed by the lady at the sale that this doll is haunted. But fortunately, this was totally ignored by the buyer, or say writer, and they bought it out of curiosity. But soon, that thing started exhibiting strange tendencies. The area where that doll was kept would get cold, and then their pet cat, which was calm by nature, would start showing aggression and began buzzing and scratching at it. Nothing more was written by the user more than this. A Reddit user named Suspended in Gafa recently posted this security camera footage of her friend's property. This was caught at around night time when everything was dark. It is an outside video of their property. As you can see, a shadowy figure appears for some quick seconds and disappears quickly. Nobody knows what that thing was. Many people replied by saying that it must be a bug crawling on the camera lens, but it doesn't look like that at all. This is another video shared by a Reddit user named internal_front_1504. This is a camera footage of a room where the writer says that weird noises begin after camera detects motion while no one was in their or house. The noise started getting intense and randomly ends the clip after 48 seconds. They also described this room as hotspot for unexplained activity of their house. As you can hear the voices from the video, nobody can describe what was that noise and from where it was coming.